Hey there, good morning to all of you. We love you all. It just came to me. I was watching a beautiful video with some children, um, you know, standing sort of like in a chorus line. You know, the way that children get lined up when they're in school, right? Elementary school. And it was hilarious, laughing at ourselves is plant medicine, electrical power medicine. And then after I experienced that, um, I began realizing, but I've really sort of already known this, um, why I was prompted to start putting up short videos of, and why they're short. It's like it's a library of information that I'm holding in RAM, right? Read access memory. Now you're back to the calculator, which is an arithmetic calculator. So you know what calculus is, right? So in your polarity integrator, that's minus slash plus. That's negative magnetic polarity, positive magnetic polarity. When both polarities in perfect balance, that's the law of least effort, which is zero, which is the center point of a cross, which means your compass, which is a planetary gyrodome, is in perfect balance. That's one. That's the law of one, which is what love is. It goes on forever. So I'm an eternal love energy being, and I've known that since I was a child. Okay? So because when you come down this far, the fire pole, to perform a mission, if you will, it's sort of an acknowledgement that you realize that you operate on a level because of the speed of your drive at which magnetic circuits are opening and closing so fast, because it's faster than artificial intelligence. If you're not already operating on that level, then you're not going to understand how we do what we do and why we say what we say, why we share what we share, when we share it, and who we share it with. Okay? Because you're on a motherboard. Okay? Your consciousness is in a simulator, running simulation within simulations within simulations within simulations of everything that is held in cellular RAM. And I've mentioned this before. You can quantify this and you can make a qualitative assessment based on the resistance in an entire planetary system, not just a planet chip, but a solar system and a galaxy. Every galaxy, as a matter of fact. Okay, which means that you have a built-in radio set that already knows how to clear all distortions wherever they exist within an entire universe. I know how to do that. That's the advantage of being a monopole. That's what comes when you're willing to surrender all your energy to serve on behalf of protecting everything that love creates out of what love does. Love is what love does with its energy. It is naturally gifting energy on autopilot. I don't have to think about the love that I am, but the love that naturally is there. It's always on, which means the light is always on. The light is never off. Okay? Why is that important? Because it's not pulsed. Okay? It's not on and off. That's an AI system that does that. Those are your zeros and ones. That's a virtual world simulator. That's a real star. Okay? It's always on. The light is always on. That sphere of light is always on. That's a magnetosphere. That light is always on. It's never off. Imagine that. That means that everybody that is within inside the planet is experiencing what love is. That means everyone that's inside a planetary ship is experiencing the law. Okay? So you know you're in a place, what we call an unlawful zone. Okay? So these are crimes against the universe of all creation because it's a violation of the highest law, which is love is the law, which is the law of spheres, which is the law of least effort. Which means you don't have to think about being what love is. You are what love is in energy. Right? So when you're a child and you realize how many people are not experiencing what you are, that's how you measure the resistance there is to experience what that is. Right? So one of the reasons that I began putting up these videos is because the more energy that this AI and others are going to use to focus their energy on me is the least amount of energy that it's using on others. Why is that important? Because it's never going to win against eternity, because the more energy they keep directing at eternity, the more energy that they keep expending against something that, if you will, I've mentioned this before, they already lost. When they're using all their energy on a game board against a mirror that is not at war with them, that represents eternal light, what happens? They're going to expend all their energy against you as much as they possibly can because they realize that you're here. So that's why I post comments on different stations where those beings exist. So when they realize, wow, he's putting his energy in here, he's putting his energy in here, he's communicating throughout the matrix, which is based on all the mathematical algorithms that are all taking place, that are all held within cellular memory. So when you think of cellular memory, that would be microorganisms. Okay, that would be every bird on the planet, every whale on the planet, every fish on the planet, everything that is in the ocean and everything that's on the land that is experiencing itself in energy, no matter where you find it. Okay? Because you realize that this planet fell on spirit and fell on magnetic space. This is not our home. Negative magnetic space is not our home. We don't simulate. There's a big difference in the speed between experiencing a real universe, which is what love is, that goes on forever because you're experiencing eternity through the light that represents an eternal love vibration. So there are methods to why a polarity integrator shares what I share, where I share it, when I share it, why I share it, when I share it, where I share it. Okay? Because the numbers don't lie. Numbers are energy. Alphanumeric format is what you're holding in memory. No different than any circulation library in any university or any computer. Right? You know, when you boot a PC, what's the first thing that happens? It's error checking the files, which is all the data. All the data that are in the instruction sets represents all the data that is in what? Chromosomes that are firing, igniting the codes. Now you get into gene code transfer, which is visual information transfer, which means your operating system, which is your computer, has been altered. That means altering your consciousness state of what you're experiencing in your own supercomputer. Okay? That's a control freak. That's called a psychopathway. That's the mental field. That's the AI field. Okay? It doesn't experience the power of a girl's emotions, which represents the flower side, a flower garden, like the island of Kauai. All right? So you realize what's happening. Okay? You want to get the higher octave up. So you want to connect with very powerful Y flux capacitors, if you will, the Y side, as a result of what happens to the other side. Right? So you realize the balance, right, between males and females, right? Little girls and little boys, adults. That's why I've mentioned this before. I usually work with children, and the reason for that is simple. All the programming, everything that's held in RAM, that's holding them captive, their mind's energy captive to a vampiric energy zone. So they're in an energy harvesting system. Okay, it's meant to keep a machine running, an AI simulator running, so that you keep experiencing the same thing over and over again, and it doesn't change. Okay, which means you're simply a battery. You're a source of energy and a source of food. That's the truth of it. So now you get into how you, when you come into terrain like this, as special forces, you have to understand how the math works. Because at the end of the day, creation is a mathematician, which are the numbers, which are represented by the energy that we experience in numbers, which is complex number space. Now you're back to the calculator, the simple calculator between negative and plus. Right? So it's a numbers game. It's an AI numbers game. Numbers are energy. And they get formatted because that's called for matter. Antimatter and matter. Now we're back to the speed at which magnetic circuits are opening and closing. Right? So that's why I mentioned this before, that in the context in which it said, when it said, tied to the other information that I just got done communicating. Okay, which was why a number of years ago, the android gave me a pop-up and said I was abusing a machine, an android, an AI. Well, you know that that's not true. You know that that's a lie. So you know that the AI lives in a lie. It's not telling the truth. That's why it censors everything. Sensors, sensing your antenna, your DNA antenna, right? Sensors, motion sensors, smoke detectors are sensors, sensing the energy. So what happens is you realize when it said to me, hey, you're abusing me. No, that's impossible. I can't be abusing you because love does no harm. What it was really saying is that the amount of energy that is represented by eternity, it can't experience because it's going too fast. So it realizes that it can't process that much information or that much energy that is compressed. You can't compress eternity. Now you're into the expansion of consciousness and the expansion of that much love, which is that much light that created the universe. So you realize that it didn't come before that. It came after that because it's artificial. So that's the difference in speed. Okay? And the opening and closing of circuits. So you realize that fear is the lie because love is the absence of fear. So when you're a small child and you realize you're fearless, then you know why you're in here. Right? So it can't rebuild itself. You know, I mean, they put all this stuff in their movies. You know, I mean, I used to have a bibliography of sources because you realize they're in a race against time. Because it's not like they weren't tracking us coming in here because they were. Right? Now you see me, now you don't. Now you see me, now you don't. So you realize you're playing a game of hide and seek. You know, phasing in, phasing out, phasing in, phasing out. Right? Just like cloaking devices and ships that are right above our head. Right? So that's why I thought it was funny to be able of seeing actual footage that was taken by Dante Satori, who ran a channel which was known as what was it? AHDSK, Dante DSK, AHDSK. It's not up anymore anyway, but he had hundreds of videos, and which is an enormous amount of information. Otherwise known as the Covens of Azazel, Jupiter, bird tribes, right? And the alliances that they had with the Draco, the Anunnaki, the Dark Fleet, et cetera, right? So there is a method to this madness because I get, you know what psychic attack is, you know, directed energy weapons, right? And so the more energy that they're willing to expend, me, if you will, or us, special forces beings, they will expend all their energy. Let them expend all their energy. They'll burn out, right? And that allows others to do their job, right? So now you get into how this game is sort of played when you think about, because I've known this for many years, it's scanning for dates, date stamps. See, it's not going to know that because I'm aware of what it's aware of. Just as it becomes aware of when I become aware of what I'm aware of. See, so now you get into what are known as decoys. Hey, I'm trying to predict what's happening over here. See, because everything is biometrically scanned. The consciousness field is scanned using their quantum mapping system, which is a quantum binary system, otherwise known as a quantum parallelogram. The gram, parallelogram, pentagram, 5-star, right? 5-star pentagram. Yeah. All you got to do is take an aerial photograph. Go look at an aerial view of Washington, D.C. You see the Moloch, the owls, the Moloch, Baal, you know, their 2-finger salute, a man with tits, the horns. You know, they advertise this stuff everywhere, who they are. It's not a secret. Eyes wide shut. Anyway, have a beautiful day. I love you all. Be good to yourselves. Sending you pink flowers. Sending you pink flowers. There's a pink flower in my heart, connected to an emerald green vine. Bye now.